This is what I put up with, guys. I don't think I get enough credit. Now, let's talk about the General Assembly. Now, we are going to do this in a different manner. We're going to use Prezi this time.
I think we both forgot this Prezi existed.
Well, it came back to us.
Yeah.
And so it is from 2017. And so there's a few things that are dated, but I want to leave those on purpose. And you'll see why in a brief moment.
Can't wait.
Well, let's talk about all the General Assembly and the legislative branch.
Okay.
Now, we are not going to watch this whole video, though, although it's fantastic. Showing here are the basics, visiting the General Assembly. But we're actually going to share this video out and let you watch it on your own. In your notes, though, we do want you to pause us, take a minute, draw a Venn diagram just like you would when you were in middle school. I feel like there is some middle school teacher that overuses the Venn diagram somewhere around here, because I'll say draw a Venn diagram and half the class like goes into a shakes because they are just like they've had too much of it.
You overdo something.
Can't overdo.
Ruin it. Ruin it.
Everything in life is better in moderation. So compare them. Talk about comparing the president to the North Carolina governor, which we will circle back to here in a minute. All right. Now, we have already filled this out. Now that you've unpaused from filling out that Venn diagram, you're going to listen for a little bit and then pause again, because we want you to fill out this chart and try to test yourself. And if you remember, how long is a U.S. Senate term? 6 years. How long is the term of length, the length of the term for somebody in the House? 2 years. But fill all that out. Pause us and fill it out in your notes on the left side now. Unpause.
There we go.
Now, what's the purpose of the General Assembly?
To make laws for North Carolina.
You're so bright.
It says it. It's right
You're
there.
so
It's right there.
bright. He would have been an AP student back in the day.
A couple gold stars.
Now, let's talk about some differences between the two. Would you like to?
I would. First off, that salary, massive difference.
Well,
massive difference.
I mean,
Like,
yeah.
massive difference. So
Yeah.
a U.S. congressman, again, that is, so when we say U.S. congressman, that's referring to both the House and members of the House and members of the Senate. That's a full-time job. Like that is your job. You are a senator. While you may have been in the past time a doctor or a lawyer, your title has changed to senator or congressman. That's a full-time job. A member of the North Carolina General Assembly, that is a part-time job. You have other jobs. Now, a lot of times you have to have a job that's flexible to allow you to be a member of the General Assembly. So that is when you have the job. It's honestly, it's a lot of times the people who get to coach youth sports.
Well, let's talk about that for a second. If you have a regular job,
Yeah.
would it be easy for you to make your schedule accommodate you working in the General Assembly? If you are a manager at Chick-fil-A, would that be able to be accommodating?
You probably could. I mean, you probably.
I don't know how often you'd be able to be in the restaurant.
That's true.
If you're a chef if you're an executive chef at Olive Garden.
No, there's no way.
If you're a teacher.
No way.
So what kind of people then lend itself to being in the General Assembly?
Probably your lawyers.
Lawyers, doctors,
Yeah.
People that have flexible schedules.
Managers at Chick-fil-A.
Maybe.
I think if you're a really good manager at Chick-fil-A.
True leadership is when you can disseminate the leadership and trust others to lead when you are not there.
Yes.
There is that to
Chick-fil-A
a point,
doesn't allow
though.
that, though. You gotta lead from the front edge.
That's what I'm saying.
But no, so that's why most of them are the lawyers. Most of them, if they do have a side job,
Mm-hmm.
or they not even a side job, a main job,
Mm-hmm.
they are lawyers, they are doctors, they are people who have very flexible hours.
One more thought, though. When you're in the U.S. Congress, you probably need to have a second residence.
Yes.
You retain your residence in North Carolina, but also either have a very nice house in D.C. if you've been there for a while, or you just find some little apartment.
You'd be shocked to know that the amount of time senators and more so congressmen will sleep at the U.S. Capitol.
Yep.
Like that is a extremely common thing.
It's shocking.
And how many of them actually just share an apartment?
Mm-hmm.
There's a story. Chuck Schumer, for example, in his younger days, shared an apartment with 5 other senators and congressmen.
Interesting.
Because it's, again, you're there for a period of time. You're almost never in your office. You're never at home.
Right.
So even when you're in DC, you can spend your entire day at the Capitol, have all your amenities with food and gyms and showers.
Cafeteria.
And so you're really just using your at home to sleep. Like that's it. So like there is, I think there was about 5 or 6 of them shared like a 3-bedroom.
Right. And a lot of them don't move their family. A lot of times the family will stay back home and then you'll go home on Thursdays.
The rent and housing price in DC and Virginia is very expensive.
Through the roof.
Yes.
Which is, a lot of people can discuss then why it makes such a big difference and why, not as many things get done now. All right. Let's transition over to talk about who is in the General Assembly. I don't know why we're having to do this again. There we go. I like the old Twitter bio. I kind of like to leave that. I mean, that is old school Twitter right there. To be in the North Carolina Senate, you'd think the term is 2 years. Your leader is the president pro tem. Big difference between the General Assembly, which is in Raleigh, and the U.S. Senate in Washington, D.C. The president pro tem of the Senate is the most powerful person in the Senate.
Nice.
It is not a
Phil Berger.
ceremonial situation like it is at D.C. Phil Berger is arguably the most powerful politician in all of North Carolina, even more than the current governor.
He's also one of the reasons I will come there.
Yeah, not on YouTube. There are 50 members of the U.S. Senate. There are 50 districts. We are in District 17 currently for the North Carolina Senate, and only have to be 25 years of age
Which
to be
is
in the North.
shocking.
And if you think that's shocking, let's talk about the North Carolina House. You only have to be 21. That is why at this time period, and we'll do this in class, we'll go through some really, really young members of different state houses all across. We were talking to Melissa O'Day. John O'Day, her husband, joined the Maine House of Representatives
Which is
while
like
still in college.
Yeah, so like 21, 22.
I remember somebody in South Carolina did it while we were at Furman.
I mean, even we're speaking right now, we have during the current election, we have someone going for the U.S. House of Representative seats when he's like 25,
Mm-hmm.
like at the minimum age. So young people can get involved in politics.
Generally, in order to do that, though, it's about networking,
Yes.
and probably your family's involved.
Because again, at 21, how are you secured enough to take a $13,000 job? You got to think about that.
Yep.
How many of your friends know that they would be set with only $13,000 a year?
Yep. Can't live on that, just in case you were curious. Tim Moore is Speaker of the House of North Carolina House of Representatives, both Republican controlled at this moment.
Yes.
Switching over, though, there is a great site that we will spend some time on talking about who represents you. And really just Google that, who represents me in C. And you better put your address in there and you'll be able to see what the districts look like. Again, these districts have been fluid over the last few years.
And you can actually really look at Apex
Mm-hmm.
and the fact of like how in Apex alone, you really have like 3 different districts.
Mm-hmm.
And that is because the amount of growth in this area is insane.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're just looking at this map as you see it, I mean, think about how many high schools are in those 3 districts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, and then if you look over to Gardner and you look at District 33 and 39, I believe it says, how many high schools are over there?
Mm-hmm.
No, I mean, a couple. I can think of like 2 or 3.
True.
Compared to like we have in Apex alone, we have 3. You
Yes.
count Middle Creek being in Apex because I think it has an Apex address.
It does.
But that's the thing is this area is developing at a fast rate that it has to keep drawn because new people are coming in, they're leaving other areas. All right, the population is growing.
You know what else I see when I look at this map?
What do you say?
I see gerrymandering.
Oh, right?
I see a nice, that is a whale's tail right there. You got to think, from my old house to my new house, I moved districts somehow. So I think that's important to note. Now let's talk about one person that is still this is where I like it being dated for a little bit. We're going to show these 3 districts. Of these 3 districts, within the last couple of years, only one of those 3 members are still there. Representative Gail Adcock is the representative that most of you would have as your representative in the General Assembly for the North Carolina House. She is a former physician. She is recently retired. She is going for re-election now as we speak. She is a Democrat, but look at that district for all of Wake County, for how complicated we are, imagine having to have from the southern border to the northern border.
Can I take a 2-second time out here?
Sure.
I looked up, I was very fascinated by the old map of Apex.
Yes.
And I decided to look at what is the current map of Apex.
Yes.
It's downtown.
Yep.
Downtown Apex, Salem Street. 3 different districts right there alone. So if you are on the scratch side of downtown, you are part of one district. If you are on the Mission
department.
Market, the fire department, that's another district. If you're at the turf field, that's the 3rd district. So that is, again, that shows that one gerrymandering, you have to connect the different districts. Everything has to be connecting. But just in downtown Apex alone, that's 3 different districts, which is fascinating.
No question.
Fascinating. Okay.
That really is how you orient yourself geographically, isn't it? Scratch.
I'm sorry. I love Scratch.
I know you
Like
do.
I absolutely love Scratch. I know qualms about it.
Now, speaking of how the districts have changed, because of District 37 changing, Linda Hunt Williams is no longer that representative. Similarly, when you look at District 36, now Nelson Dollar did serve in the House for a long time, as you see here, 7 terms in the North Carolina House. Has since retired, and a Democrat has taken over that spot as well. Sliding over to the North Carolina Senate, this is a little bit more streamlined and didn't change as much in our area. We are still District 17, but just in case you're curious about the gerrymandering, look at all of that.
No, I mean, honestly, I really encourage you to currently look up the area right now and go to ncleg.gov, find your legislators, and look at the map because it's fascinating. It's fascinating how they're splitting it up. Because even in Apex, it's very split up in how to do that. And that's because, again, it goes back to gerrymandering and just the amount of growth that we have. So you really can look at is what are the boundaries? Like, why do you think that was a boundary there? Because downtown Apex is one district, but literally right next to downtown Apex in those neighborhoods that would be closer to Anna's Pizza, that's a different district than the Firehouse.
Yep.
It's quite fascinating.
Absolutely. Maybe we should just focus on gerrymandering at some point. Now, Tamara Behringer is no longer our North Carolina senator. But go ahead. You can take it.
But she is running for a certain race.
She has transitioned. She lost in her reelection bid to Sam Searcy.
So sad.
She is now, I've actually met, I don't know if I say Senator Behringer if you're no longer been in the Senate. I believe so. Seemed very nice. We've had a nice conversation. She is now running for the Supreme Court of North Carolina.
Just a natural step. But
That's fascinating to me that you would go directly from one branch of government to another branch of government that different, and not even
you
the Court of
can't serve the
Appeals.
same one at the same time, though.
Correct.
Can't serve there. But again, let's look at the map again for gerrymandering purposes and look in that middle top section. Like, that looks pretty gerrymandered.
Correct.
All right, there's a reason why that's in that one neighbor in her district.
Side note, though,
Side note.
Editorial boards still matter as far as newspapers. I'm going to be an old man for a second. Newspapers still come out and endorse candidates while he takes a nap talking about newspapers. Newspapers still come out and endorse candidates. They have come out and endorsed certain people running for the North Carolina House, running for the North Carolina Senate, and in those court races that are becoming so important. News and Observer endorsed Tamara Behringer for her seat on the North Carolina Supreme Court. Just wanted to let you know. Now, one thing that is still going on with the General Assembly that we do want to bring up is Moral Mondays. These have been happening since before Apex Friendship started. I remember teaching about these when I was in Chapel Hill. That is a group of people that wanted to protest at the General Assembly on Mondays. And a lot of times it was a summer type thing that would then bleed over into the beginning of the school year. It doesn't happen as regularly now, but it still does occur every now and then. Sometimes these peaceful protests get a little bit less peaceful.
It can happen. We've seen that in 2020.
So I was teaching at Chapel Hill when the mayor of Carrboro went to go protest and got arrested.
That's visual.
Yes, no, I mean, it was on purpose. Like, he knew that him getting arrested would be a whole different deal. So there are some videos that we can share with you to watch later on. Now, one last note though, the General Assembly does have to work closely with the governor. Currently, our governor is Roy Cooper. That's him and his family. And we'll kind of talk about the North Carolina governorship a little bit more in depth later on. And why that is such a complicated office and how it is it is one of the weakest governor's mansions in the country. And there's our former governor there, Pat McCrory. So we think it's important for you to be able to know that of how important it is for the governor, whether that be your previous governor, Pat McCrory, or your current governor, Roy Cooper, to work with the legislative body. Because if that relationship is working well, then the people of North Carolina benefit.
If it's not working well, then there's a lot of bickering.
Then we're spending tax dollars because the two are suing each other.
Yes.
We will leave that there. Again, any questions? Hopefully this can be just factual information for you. And then more questions. We would love to talk about these questions.
At the
in
end of
class.
the day, I think a really easy way to summarize it is that there's not a whole lot of massive differences between the U.S. House and Senate compared to the General Assembly.
Correct.
That is designed that way. We took the model from the federal government and we copied it to the state government. All right. And then there's a couple of states where that will differ and how they label things or politicians that they have. But it's basically we've modeled it after the U.S. Congress.
I think it's important to note too when you're looking at other general assemblies. I think it's good to give some concluding thoughts. I think it was a good call by you. Not every state has part-time legislatures.
No.
California, that's a full-time job to be in your state general assembly.
Massachusetts is a full-time job.
I bet it is too. I know New York is a full-time job, and there's actually been discussions recently about should North Carolina move that way. I think we're a top 10 state in the country as far as population is concerned. I think we are one of the only top 10 in population-wise that are still part-time. I think that's, again, some of the vestiges of North Carolina still being a smaller southern state, and then trying to move into that upper echelon of the 10 most populous states.
Yeah, I think that's really important. People don't realize is like North Carolina, we are actually a big state.
We are.
Like we're a big state. We're a big state and also an important state. Very important whenever it comes to the election for 2020, for 2024, 2028, whenever you're watching this.
And the midterms that are in there.
And the midterms.
Hager Moser for Congress, 2032. All right. Y'all have a good one.